Atlanta Falcons battle the Pittsburgh Steelers this week in a game that will feature the NFL's top receiver, Julio Jones, with 1,428 yards and 6 touchdowns, and second leading passer, Ben Roethlisberger, with 4,055 yards and 29 touchdowns. While this season has been a letdown for Atlanta at 5-8, they have shown signs of life, notching 3 wins in their last 5 games. Pittsburgh is now a narrow 1-point favorite as they take on the Falcons. Odds makers have set the over-under at 51 points. Last week, the Falcons fell to the Packers 43-37, but Jones had a great game in the loss, totaling 11 receptions for 259 yards and a touchdown. Matt Ryan also had a great game with 375 yards and 4 touchdowns through the air. Pittsburgh is looking to repeat last week when they won big over Cincinnati 42-21. Le'Veon Bell had a huge game running the ball for the Steelers, carrying it 26 times for 185 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he added 50 yards and a touchdown on 6 receptions. Roethlisberger had a big game as well, totaling 350 yards and 3 touchdowns through the air. The Falcons enter the game with a record of 5-8 straight up and 6-7 against the spread on the season. In the past 5 games, Atlanta is 3-2, both straight up and against the spread. Judging from past games this season, expect to see a heavy dose of the Atlanta passing game, which currently ranks 5th in the NFL with 284.3 passing yards per game. An important aspect of this game will be to see if the Steelers can fend off Atlanta's ability to take the ball away. The Falcons currently rank 2nd in the league with 2.3 turnovers per home game. In the first quarter, Atlanta is tough as nails, putting up 7.2 points in the first 15 minutes. As for their opponent, the Steelers have a record of 6-7 against the spread and 8-5 straight up. The Steelers went 3-2 straight up and 2-3 against the spread over the last 5 games. Pittsburgh has found a lot of success through the air. Its 302.1 passing yards per game ranks 2nd in the NFL. Switching gears to the Pittsburgh defense, there are certain areas where it measures up well against the Falcons, and this comes at an inopportune time for Atlanta. Over the last 5 games, Pittsburgh's opponents have only averaged 98.2 yards on the ground. The Steelers make it hard on their opponents down the stretch. They average 10.4 points in the final quarter, more than any other team in the league. Pittsburgh tends to control the time of possession as well during games, averaging a time of 33-22 for 4th in the league. Pittsburgh comes in at 5-2 straight up in its last 7 games, and Atlanta is 3-7 straight up in its last 10 games. Pittsburgh is 4-2 straight up in its last 6 games on the road, and Pittsburgh is 8-1 straight up in its last 10 games when playing Atlanta. Pittsburgh is 1-4 against the spread in its last 5 games when playing against Atlanta. Pittsburgh is 4-1 straight up in its last 5 games when playing on the road against Atlanta. Atlanta comes in at 1-8 straight up in its last 10 games when playing Pittsburgh. They are also 1-4 straight up in their last 5 games when playing at home against the Steelers. The total has gone over in 6 of Pittsburgh's last 7 games, and the total has gone under in 6 of Atlanta's past 9 games. The total has gone over in 11 of Atlanta's last 16 games at home. The Bang the Book Betting Center predicts that Atlanta will take this game both straight up and against the spread, and that the game will go over the total of 51 points.